Just when we feel like everything's under control, it's out of control again. News this morning, while we are on the air, of Patriots cornerback Stephon Gilmore, the defending NFL Defensive Player of the Year, testing positive for COVID-19. Won't practice today. The team will not practice today because the team now has 3. Cam Newton, Bill Murray, practice squad defensive tackle, and Stephon Gilmore. Murray was not in contact with Cam Newton, at least not in close contact with Cam Newton. Gilmore, I don't know whether or not he was on the plane with the 20 who had been in close contact with Cam Newton, or whether he was on the plane with everyone else. It's probably better for the Patriots if he was on the plane with the 20 because, again, there's a lag between when you shed virus and when they find out you're positive. The numbers they're getting now, Wednesday morning, are the result of PCR tests that were implemented Tuesday morning. So when he was tested Tuesday morning, after they got back from Kansas City, he tested positive.
Not good.
Which means he may have been shedding virus on the plane.
Right.
He may have been shedding virus on the field. If he went up and said hello to Patrick Mahomes after the game, he may have shed virus on him. Look, this gets back to everything we talked about an hour ago. And I've already gotten emails from people, why are you talking about this? This is why we're talking about it, folks, because it continues to threaten to force the NFL to work magic on its schedule. And if it can't do that, to either have 2 extra weeks at the back end of the season or miss games or, worst case scenario, shut down the season. Now, it's not going to come to that. What it needs to come to, Chris, I'm going to keep banging this drum,
Mike,
and you need
right.
to join with me.
I am.
We need, that big-ass bass drum in the band?
Right.
We each get a what is it called? The big club, and we just hit it on each side. Put every team in a hotel. National Football League Players Association, I'm begging you, forget about collective bargaining. I know that is the core of what you do, and you never agree to anything without getting something in return. Sometimes, though, it's about doing the right thing for everyone. And if you want your players to get their game checks this year, you will tell every player you're going to a hotel and you're staying there for the rest of the season. It's a sacrifice, but you're going to sacrifice a lot of money. You're going to sacrifice some games. You're going to undermine the season. And the sooner the union agrees to it, because the league will do it. Coaches are going to be upset about it. So what? Too bad. You're getting paid a lot of money. Go live in a hotel for 3 months. They need to do it, or the season, I'm not going to say it's going to implode, but we're going to have a team that's 9-6 or 9-5 get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And a team that's 9-7 say, what the hell's going on here? And it's not going to feel fair to anyone. It's not going to be a complete season.
No.
That's the way to save it, Chris.
You're right. I'm Mike, you're 100%. I mean, you said it last week. I had for a moment hesitated, but you're right. I mean, if we want to ensure that there's less questions about the fairness, let's say, or the competitive imbalance and all of those type of things, and then also capitalize for the NFL to capitalize on all the money they can possibly make and do all those things, it's to me the only way that's going to make it right now, the way it's looking. And I mean, with Stephon Gilmore, man, holy cow, you lose your best player on offense last week. Now it's going to be your best player on defense this week. And where does this go? The Patriots play like bump and run, man-to-man, in your face, like every play. I mean, what Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins right now must be going, man, Stephon Gilmore was like some plays on me like glue on Monday night. I mean, they could probably smell the bubblegum flavor he was chewing. That's how close they were to each other at times. So that's just got to be scary, and that's to me where does this go now? Because again, like we saw last week, there's a delayed reaction in the spread of this virus, obviously, where, one guy gets it and just slowly trickles to the next guy at times. Can you feel safe that, okay, the Chiefs tested everyone's good today, that they won't get it or won't have someone else get it here in the next 3 days? That's where the virus is scary to me right now.
And that look, it's that trickle, it's that drip, it's that day after day after day. We're seeing it in the White House. We're seeing it now with the Patriots. And, oh, by the way, ESPN reports that, and we talked about this last hour, Mike Vrabel, coach of the Titans, waiting for his 4:30 a.m. email. Are there more positives? Oops, there's another positive in Tennessee. You know what that means? They're not going back to work today.
Wow.
You know what that means? Your boy Blue
got another advantage.
Probably not going to Tennessee this weekend. And what are they going to do? What are they going to do?
You're right.
What are they going to? What do we do now? Are we at the point after 4 weeks of the season where they have to park a week 18, delay wild card weekend by a week, delay the divisional weekend by a week, delay the conference championship by a week, and either delay the Super Bowl by a week or just have a 1 week lag between the conference championships and the Super Bowl? That's where we are, because there's nowhere else this game can go. The Titans have already had their bye. You can't put it anywhere except week 18 unless you postpone it to Monday or Tuesday. But what happened with the Patriots in postpone? I mean, we don't. And again, one of the keys was Stephon Gilmore, one of the people in close contact with Cam Newton. If yes, then it just underscores the fact that they just shouldn't have played that game. They knew there was a risk, and it's the incubation period. We've talked about this over and over again. That is the donut hole here. That is the thing that causes the Titans positives to keep coming and coming more than a week after they have shut down their facility. Guys are testing positive. So it is time to put the players, the coaches, and all personnel in hotels for the rest of the season, or there is not going to be a rest of the season, at least as it relates to getting all the games in, Chris.
Yeah, well, because we just don't know. We don't know. We've obviously seen we can't totally trust the players as of right now. We've seen, coaches be relaxed about it as well. And I sit there and think about the Titans too and go, okay, is this something that's trickling through the team because of the spread through the team? Or is it also like, hey, we're not at the facility and I went to some restaurant with my wife and kids, the second day we didn't have practice last week and I got it there. So that's where like your point about the hotel and the bubble and everything there too is it's just there's so many variables in this. There really is. And unless you basically lock yourself down, I just don't know how we avoid it going forward. And like you said, it's going to be unfair unless we start to see this become a real thing. And then the NFL, again, goes back to what we kind of saw in that statement from Goodell and everything the other day where maybe he starts to threaten and go, I don't know. You guys can't be trusted, Team X. There seems to be an outbreak every week. Somebody, we've lost wiggle room in the schedule. It's just time. You get a loss. You can't play this week. You get a loss. We're moving on with the NFL season. I mean, to me, it's going to have to be one or the other at some point. It is. I don't know how you make it fair. And to me, that's still the fairest way to go instead of having imbalance in the number of games. Like, I would be so pissed off of an NFL football player if the scenario you said, arose of I'm on a 9-7 team and I don't get in the playoffs because some team that went 9-5 and avoided the Steelers and the Bills to get in, two of the best teams in football. I mean, that is like the BS's of the BS's right there. That's bullcrap. And that really bothers me, as you can tell. It kind of boils my blood a little bit.
I've had a couple of coaches suggest a 12-game season with or without a bubble. I think the coaches really don't want to have to live in hotels for 3 months.
Don't.
Think about it. Most of the coaches have pretty nice houses, right? They don't want to be away from their families.
Yep.
I get it.
Yep.
But you know what? The entire NBA went to Orlando. The NHL went to 2 different cities in Canada, and they had one giant bubble. And look, I said back in March, half jokingly, that's what the NFL needs to do. Get a huge piece of land in Area 51 and start building dormitories and fields on which games would be played. But the only way this is going to work is to keep guys in the building once you know everyone is negative. Now, you don't want to keep all the Titans in the building for now or in the hotel for now. You don't want to keep all the Patriots in the building for now or in the hotel for now. But once you know everyone's clean and you have that runway of allowing the incubation period to evaporate, then you lock everyone down in hotels. And you know what? If they do have to just pull the plug on the season for a couple of weeks to get this reconfigured and start it up again and move things back, so be it. I understand they
but
don't
what's
want
that do?
to move.
So we
Hang
can
on
move it.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish.
Right.
Can I finish? If you the problem is once you delay it beyond the end of February, you start screwing up the entire offseason schedule. When do you do free agency? When do you do the draft? When do you start preparing for the next season? How much time is there between seasons from a health and safety standpoint? You don't want, because look at what basketball and hockey you're going to have to do now. Hey, we finished our seasons. We've awarded a championship. Now when the hell do we start again? I don't think the NFL wants to do that. It can become a perpetual mess for all these sports.
If they're going to do it the same way they're doing it, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I mean, let's delay it so we can do the same formula and then have 7 more delays as we do that. And we'll play the Super Bowl in July. We'll do it on July 4th. I mean, well, we can't predict where this is going to be in our country and the virus and the world, everything down. So at some point, it's either got to come to the bubble idea, like you're saying, 32 individual bubbles, or we just say, you lose, we move on. I hear the delay thing. The delay thing, yes, makes sense. But what is that? Like you said, it doesn't ensure there's not going to be more delays. And then what are we going to do? Have the Super Bowl in May and then delay the next season because of that? So at some point, we just got to crap or get off the pot here and figure something out that either works or we just keep moving the train and go along and, sorry, you get a loss. That at least what makes sense to me.
And here's the thing. All right, you get a loss, right? If that's what they say to the Titans this week, you get a loss, Bills win, you're 3-1, they're 5-0. They got to write a huge check back to CBS, right? I don't think CBS is going to say, fine, go ahead, keep the money. I understand that all the networks are currently in negotiations with the NFL, but there's a limit to which the networks are going to say, you're not giving us content and we're paying for it. Oh, we're fine with that. We want to continue to give you billions of dollars, so we're fine with not having programming because you guys couldn't get your crap together. We're fine with that. Let's assume that money gets paid back. Here's the thing. How do you pay the players if the game's forfeited? What do you do? Do you tell the players, hey, Bills, you didn't get to play the game this week because the Titans have an outbreak and they haven't been able to get it under control. You get a win. Congratulations.
Yeah.
But, we got some other news for you. You're not getting a check this week because the only way we can justify paying you because we can have fans come to the game is we need our money from CBS.
Right.
Hope you understand it.
Yeah.
Hope you understand it. Hope you saved some of your money because you ain't getting paid this week.
Make the Titans pay the Bills payroll for the week. They don't have to pay their own, pay the Bills.
But that's why, Chris, that's why the bubble is the only way out of this. That's why putting the players in a hotel and telling them you can't leave and this is it, and give them another window to opt out. If they don't want to do it, fine.
Yeah.
You get your stipend. You go. You don't want to be here, go. We'll find people who want to be here. We'll seal the doors. We go from hotel to practice facility to hotel to practice facility. We go to the stadium. We go to the airport. Very restricted universe of movement. We're keeping out anyone that may be positive. That's what they got to do.
Yeah.
Now, they could have planned it this way from the start, or they could do it on the fly, seat of their pants, make it up as they go, which introduces the possibility of some flaws and some problems. But it's what they need to do. And the sooner they do it, the better. And, just as it felt like the dust was settling, the dust is kicked up again, and this is going to continue. And the biggest problem here is, when the hell are the Bills and Titans going to play?
Yeah.
When are they going to play?
Yeah.
Because it's probably not going to be Sunday, and Monday or Tuesday may not make a difference, and there's no bye week that you can drop this into because the Titans' bye has already disappeared. And to everyone out there, let me just make this one last point. To everyone out there who says it's not going to kill any of these players, the survival rate for people under 70 is whatever percent you want to quote, whatever you heard on TV that you want to quote, fine. None of that matters. What matters is the NFL has made the tactical decision that this is the way they're going to do things. That if you're positive, you don't come to work. And if there are enough positives, they're going to shut down a facility. They're not looking at it in terms of, is it going to make somebody sick or is it going to kill them? They don't want the virus to run rampant. They don't want to try to do the Swedish herd immunity experiment with the National Football League. They've made that decision. They're not doing it. So none of your statistics about who it kills and who it doesn't kill, none of those matter. The NFL's already made the decision this is how they're going to do things. So the recommendations we are making come from the perspective of getting the games played within the confines of the decisions the NFL's already made, Chris. So, this isn't fear-mongering. This isn't about what the virus can do to anyone. This is about what the NFL needs to do to successfully play its games, given the choices it's already made about how it's going to handle the virus.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, we're not trying to fear monger at all. I don't even, I don't get that. We're trying to lay out with what the NFL is trying to set up, where this is going and how it might go, and maybe throw some ideas out there to help it along. You mentioned the players and the coaches reluctant about the bubble and all those things. I think at the end of the day, they will do it. I do. I mean, of course, there's just too much money to be lost, even for low-level guys who are making the minimum. They have made no money. So, yeah, I know my wife, we've talked about this too. Hey, honey, if I was a starting quarterback and making $25 million a year, she'd be like, I'll see you. Go to the bubble. I'll see you when the season's over. Or she'd ask, can we go to the bubble with you? And, yeah, maybe that's an option. Maybe some kids miss grade school or just do it online anyways, because a lot of them are doing that anyways. So maybe they could set something up like that. But the other thing here, after that, for the
hang on a second. I got some news.
Okay.
Stephon Gilmore was one of the players in close contact with Cam Newton, so he would have been on the plane with roughly 20 people back and forth to Kansas City, which is both good news and bad news.
It's bad news, really.
Well, but here's where it's good news.
Yeah.
He wasn't on the plane with everybody else.
Right.
Which is a little shred of good news. But it demonstrates the incubation period. It demonstrates that this is the thing the NFL is never going to be able to address no matter what it does. It's going to be a drip, 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 potentially, of positive tests once you have that one guy who's positive, especially a guy who interacts with so many people, like the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And that is the very bad news here. And it's bad news for the Patriots, and it's bad news for the league, because it just shows how hard it's going to be to get this season in if your approach is, we got to shut it down if someone's positive. We can't let the person in. And if we start having a chain of these positives, we're going to assume there's an outbreak, and we're going to slam the door on the facility, and we're going to start postponing or canceling football games, Chris.
He was on a plane with 20 guys on a separate plane. He still played in a football field with 50 other people. And he was tackling and probably drooled on people and was on top of people. And like you said,
hey, wait till you see the photo we have.
Well, let's see it. Let's see it.
Well, they're trying to get it.
Okay,
Get it ready.
Great.
There it is.
Great.
Oh boy, yeah, good news. Good news, Chiefs fans.
So,
there's Stephon Gilmore right in Patrick Mahomes' face after the game.
Yeah, that makes you question why was that game played. But then it's also going to be a huge experiment here going forward, just to see, okay, as it relates to the Titans-Bills game this week, just, how does this play out? Do we continue to see the spread now with more and more Patriot players and Chief players because of this? I don't know. But it's a scary time here to see where this goes this week for those football teams right now, and to see if they can possibly play or make this happen. I don't know.
Yeah, it really is amazing that, last Tuesday, one of the things I stupidly said, hey, they've cracked the code on COVID. 3 weeks and everything's fine. And as someone told me over the weekend, it's like an average golfer getting a par on the first 3 holes of the course. The triple bogey is always coming. The triple bogey came last week, and now just when it looked like, you're feeling confident, it's at par 3 and you've parred in the past, and, you can put the ball on the green with 1 shot and 2 putt, you're fine. You put it in the water. You put it in the weeds. You put it in the woods. You put it in the sand. That's where they are already. Just when it felt like everything was moving in the right direction. Oh, by the way, there's another Raiders player who's tested positive as well. So, Titans, Patriots, Raiders, all 3 teams now in this mess, and the NFL's got to figure it out on the fly. And again, the only solution, the best solution, put every team in a hotel and restrict their movements for the rest of the season. That's how you get the season in. And if you don't want to do that, if the union doesn't want to do it, fine. What do we got? Some teams are going to play 10 games, some are going to play 12, some are going to play 9, some are going to play. It's going to be nonstop. And eventually what's going to happen, Chris, fans are just going to say, screw it. Why am I messing with this?
It's going to be too hard
Every time
to
I turn the TV on, I don't know where the hell a game's going to be. When's the game going to be on?
Yeah.
Is there a game Monday night or isn't there a game Monday night? Is my favorite team playing or isn't it? How in the hell do I keep up with fantasy football? Right? I mean, there are millions of people who derive their primary enjoyment of following the NFL from playing fantasy football. Last week, wreaked havoc on fantasy football rosters. If they start missing games and week 18 and week 19 and canceling, whatever, this can't continue. And their only chance is to put everyone in a bubble.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I just, the thing that comes to my mind here is just, going forward, will the NFL even take the chance of, all right, just like the New England scenario, okay, Cam Newton's tested positive. Here's 20 people that were close to him. At what point does the NFL just go, we can't even risk it anymore? I'm sorry, 20 people, you're gone for now, or whatever that is. I don't know. But, obviously we're seeing here that there's great risk, and we're going to see what happens here this week as we go on, because a guy that was now positive played in a football game, was on a separate plane because you knew he had contact with a guy that was also positive. And now where does it go? This is going to be a great test, and just to see where this is all out, how quickly it does spread, and maybe what they do going forward. But, yeah, the bubble, Mike, back to that, is just it's the only way it's going to get done here smoothly. I agree with you.
Can we put that photo back up again of Patrick Mahomes and Stephon Gilmore? This is the test, right? The NFL has banked on the idea that in an open-air setting, you're not going to transmit the virus, that the droplets dissipate too quickly. I mean, that's as close as two football players can get.
Yeah.
My guess is they're not holding their breath during that conversation.
No.
And
this probably has to be canceled too, Mike. Like these things, like no more doing this after the game. No more like.
I don't know why I thought they weren't supposed to do it. Remember the whole thing, no jersey swaps?
Yeah.
Well, why don't they just do what Vic Fangio did and get your ass straight to the locker room?
Right.
That's what you. And why? I mean, look, it doesn't take a genius to figure this out. If you and I can figure it out, that proves it. Why do you want to and see, the other side of it is they were just out there pressed up against each other for 3 hours. See, that's the problem. The more that we do to keep everyone separated and all the measures that are put in place, you must wear a mask, you must stay 6 feet apart, you must do this, you must do that. At some point, you're playing football, and it's harder to reconcile playing football with everything else you're doing to prevent transmission of the virus. So that's why the football players justified, hey, we've been out here for the last 3 hours playing football. We're fine. We get tested every day.
Yes.
We're fine.
Right.
Well, guess what? The morning after that photo was taken, Stephon Gilmore had a swab go up his nose that came back positive. And that means there's a chance he was shedding virus in that moment, in that photo. And now, if you're a Chiefs fan, if you're a fan of football, if you want the best players on the field, and we all love Patrick Mahomes, we don't want to see his backup. There's a chance that at some point over the next week, 10 days, 2 weeks, however long the incubation period, Patrick Mahomes is going to test positive. There's a chance that's going to happen now.
Maybe that's what needs to happen to make the bubble thing happen. Maybe it is. Maybe we just got the best player in the sport's got to, Mahomes can't play. The team that won the Super Bowl, the best player in our league, the face of the league right now, he can't play. That would be, I think, a major shot across the bow to everybody. The society, everything, to just be like, all right, anybody can get this, and it can mess up our, daily life or routine at any point. And certainly it would put the NFL and everything on notice when you lose a guy of the caliber of a Patrick Mahomes.
And let me just say this. I don't know whether it's bots on Twitter, or I don't know if
a lot of bots.
People are so effing stupid. 7 months into this, they don't understand it. I had one person say, oh, don't worry about Mahomes. They all tested negative yesterday. Don't you understand, folks? There's an incubation period. That's how this works. You don't test positive the morning after someone breathes virus into your face. It takes time for enough virus to accumulate in your body to show up on the test, and it accumulates in your nose. That's why they stick the swab up your nose. So it takes time.
Yeah.
It is amazing to me how deliberately misinformed so many Americans are about this virus that has killed 210,000 people and counting. How can we be so willfully stupid and willfully and blissfully ignorant about something this serious? It is astounding to me. And I've got my theories as to why it happened. Regardless, it's happened. And now we're seeing it play out for the National Football League. And we're at the point where we just have to wait and see what happens. Somebody told me over the weekend that they're not going to do the bubble, but if there's one more incident, they'll do the bubble. Well, this kind of feels like the incident, Chris, doesn't it? If they're ever going to do the bubble, they need to do it now.
It seems like it. It does. I mean, it's, Gilmore, the Patriots. It's like, whoa, if the Patriots are having an issue, I can guarantee the Patriots are doing just about everything right. That's just the way they work. It is. I mean, if that's a rule, I just would be, they're going to follow protocol pretty strictly. So that hits home to me. And then, yes, Tennessee's scary. Again, another test there. Where does it go with the Raiders? We know they were careless last week too. What does that mean? I mean, there's just so many question marks. And to your point with your email you got with people saying, oh, don't worry about Mahomes. He tested negative yesterday. Well, yeah, I'm sure the guy that tested positive for the Titans today tested negative for the last 6 days in a row. But today it's positive. So, again, that's just the way it is, to your point. It has to take time to spread through the body.
It's only news when they're positive.
Right.
Stephon Gilmore wasn't tested for the first time this week on Tuesday. He was negative on Saturday, on Sunday, and on Monday. But the incubation period, he was one of the guys, as we mentioned earlier, who was in close contact with Cam Newton.
Right.
The incubation period expires, and he tests positive. So that's kind of where we are, and it's not good.
No, it's not good.
Not good at all. Hopefully, we have football to continue to talk about in the coming days and weeks. Hopefully, they will get this together and get this fixed. That's what we want, and that's the other thing too. And again, it may be bots, it's trolls, and it's idiots. The idea that by merely talking about this, by making suggestions aimed at saving the season, we want the season to fail. Don't you realize the lack of logic there? If we really wanted the season to fail, we'd be arguing, don't do anything. It's phony. Nobody's going to get sick. You don't need to do anything. It's fine. No, we want to save the season. That's why we're sounding the alarm. We want the games to happen. We want the players to get paid. We want to have sports that we can enjoy on the weekends to give us a temporary break from all the crap that we got to deal with the other 6 days of the week. And we're making arguments aimed at allowing it to happen. That's why we want the bubble. We want all the teams to be in a bubble so they can play the games. And yes, that's selfish from our standpoint. I know it's a hardship for the players and the coaches, but we want the games to be played.
Yeah.
And presumably they want the games to be played. And we've been at a point for a while now where that's the only obvious solution. And I just wish that people who are actually in a position, Chris, of power and influence in the NFL, other than us, unlike us, will do something about it and make that decision.
Yeah, I think we're getting there, Mike. I think the statement that Goodell, released last week and everything there, it shows you their mind is there. And, to what you said just a few minutes ago, this might be the last straw or whatever you want to say there, to where they just go, okay, it's getting out of hand. I'm not sure we can control this. We got to do something. We got to go to plan B. And I would expect we start to hear more and more of that as this week goes on.
Well, I thought we'd hear it over the weekend, and we didn't. And if we don't hear it over the next few days, look, here's the thing. They're going to realize that's their only option, because the next move is Week 18. You're not going to be able to reschedule this Bills-Titans game. This Bills-Titans game is going to get played wild card weekend, if at all. I doubt it's going to get played on Monday night or Tuesday night. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
You once you use the Titans bye for last week, you have no other flexibility. You have no other leeway. And look, hey, do what you have to do to salvage the season. If you need to start pushing things back, do it. But don't just do that. Get everyone into a hotel. Mandatory. Give guys a chance to opt out, players, coaches, and everyone else. Anyone who wants to say, I'm out, I can't do this, I can't be away from my family, I don't want to be away from my family, I don't want to live in a hotel for 3 months, give them the chance to do it. That's fair, and that's proper. You don't want anyone in there who doesn't want to be in there. Like Mike Tomlin always says, we want volunteers. We want people who want to be here.
Yeah, doesn't want hostages.
People who don't.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want hostages, we want volunteers. And I understand that for some people, the prospect of not getting their salary operates as the golden handcuffs that will cause them to do it. but still they're choosing to do it. They're making that choice. It's not going to be mandatory for anybody. There's not going to be any penalty under the collective bargaining agreement for leaving the team without permission. Everyone should have a chance to say, I choose not to do this. Everyone who chooses to do it should be all in for the rest of the year, and let's get the games in. And I'll admit, I'm being selfish. I want the games to be played. Chris, I assume you feel the same way. You want the games to be played. If they don't do something drastic now, we're not going to have the games played.
I would be crushed. It's part of my livelihood, like to support my family, but it's like truly part of my being. This time of the year, I want to watch football, and just I love it. So of course I want to see it. And that's why we're arguing about let's do things safer or do the bubble or things like that, because we want to see football. It would make no sense for the people that are arguing that we're fear-mongering or doing anything like that. That's crazy.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.